Okay, so today we are going to start with HTML. So like you saw in the first screen, so like you saw on this screen, we are learning HTML basic for this week 1. But for this our Saturday class, what do we hope to find, or what are we going to cover? Well, I've listed most of them in your Google Classroom as the key points I will cover for this week. And I also encourage you to study the points I will cover today by using Google Classroom and the video link that I provided. So I know most of you have done that, and I'm ready to answer your well-prepared question. But if you have any question, feel free to signify by raising up your hand, and I'll be sure to answer your question. Now, I will also encourage you to also see if you can wait a little bit before raising up your hand, so that it might be I might answer your question after a little while. So let's begin. So for this our Saturday's class, we are going to learn the following. Who is a front-end web developer? Our stack. Now in full stack web development, when you hear the word stack, it is like, what are the set of programming language that you use to do your job? So you're going to see that very soon. The installation recap. So I'm going to recap how you can install VS Code, Git, and other stuff. So how to create a simple project on VS Code, how to recognize HTML tags, examples of HTML tags and how to code them, what are HTML attributes. And I know that we will not be able to cover some other stuff, so that's why I say other topics via video, which will be available before on Monday. So we are going to cover the following: images, videos, audios, tables, and forms. But if there is time, we can cover them today. But one thing is sure, our class will end by 5. So let's begin. Who is a front-end web developer? Now, if we are using the house analogy, so let's say you want to build a house in this modern time. You will not just call one papa, say, because you have been seeing that man as a messy man building house, just call him, okay, I want 3 rooms and this build. No, that will not be nice. So you have to look for this network. Okay, I'm sorry about that. My Glo network just kicked me out, so I switched to Airtel. So as soon as I noticed that my network was off, I stopped speaking. So imagine that you want to build a house, and you don't just look for one old man or like one messy man because he knows how to maybe lay block, and so you just tell him, I want 3 rooms, I want that to build your house. Now that man can build the structure, but the principle that will make your house stand the test of time, you might not know. So the right thing to do is to meet an architect that will design the house and make sure all the beams and trusses, they are balanced, especially if in a place where there's an earthquake or the tsunami, he's going to design the house to withstand those natural forces. So then after which you give the design of the house, the architectural plan, to a civil engineer who will now build the house. And that's what we see when they construct all these flyovers and bridges. They don't just go there and start working. They are following an architectural design. So in the world of front end, there is a specialization called web designers, or the UI UX designers. They are like the architect. They design the flow of the website, the color, the position of things. They do a lot of work to design how the website will look. Then when they have finished their design, then it is now our job. Sorry, my screen is not showing, so let me do that immediately. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, so it is the work of the web designers, that is UI UX designers, to do the research and do some other work about how the website will look. So our job as front-end web developers, is to take that design just like an architect and make sure that that website or that Figma file that we use, or any of such file, is built using the right programming languages that users can enjoy, that can be hosted and have the necessary interactivities. So that is who a front-end web developer is, and the definition we see below is a front-end developer is someone who creates websites and web application using the required programming languages. So if you're a front-end web developer, you can major on websites or you can major on app development. And good thing, as part of our stack, we are learning React. So if you love app, you can easily switch to React Native. Then as you understand the principle of app development, you can now switch to a more advanced programming language or a framework which is under that, using Flutter. So being a front-end web developer does not mean you must only design websites. You can also design app. So we'll move to the next one, our stack. Now the programming language that I will teach you to be a front-end web developer includes the following: HTML, CSS. Then I'm going to teach you Sass and Tailwind, but I will not teach you Bootstrap, because Bootstrap is almost the same thing like Tailwind, but only that if you want to build something faster, Bootstrap will give you that. But I'm going to teach you Tailwind because it gives a lot of flexibility. So now if you know any of this, if you know HTML, you can easily understand Sass. Now if you know CSS, you can easily understand Tailwind. So why I'm going to teach you this Tailwind is because I want you to build your website as fast as possible. Now the next language that we are going to learn is JavaScript. Now this Sass that is here is a library for CSS. So it means if you're writing your CSS with Sass, you write it more faster. It's like a more advanced form. Then this is a framework. So as we go further, I'm going to explain the difference between a library and a framework, but that is not our focus now. So just know that anything that I put as slash here is an improvement of the language. So we are going to learn JavaScript, and we are going to we are not going to learn TypeScript because we don't need it for now. But if you want, if as you go forward in your career as a web development, you get to see the need to use TypeScript, so that you're going to build projects that will have minimum error, so that by the time you host them, you will not have much bug. So it gives you that ability to spot some errors while you code, and is more advanced than this, or is more strict than this. Then we're also going to learn React, which is a library based on JavaScript. Then Nest.js is a framework built on library. Okay, so this is our stack. So I'm going to teach you this, and this. So now we know the programming languages that we are to learn to build our website as front-end web developers. Let's now move on to the next. Now, installation recap. Now I'm going to show you how you can download and install VS Code, but I'm using Linux, I'm not using Windows, and I know that most of us we use Windows. So I'll show you how to get a video that can demonstrate to you how to install those two applications that we need. If you're using Linux or Mac, you can also follow the same process. Then I'm going to show you some VS Code extensions that we can install to make our job more faster. Then how to download and install Git. So let me show you that. Okay, so I'm going to open my web browser now. So I believe why I'm teaching like this, I encourage you to take notes. The videos will be available, but just take notes, and if you're fast in typing, you can also follow me along. Now if you have already installed your VS Code and your Git, so just stay tuned because you might learn something new. So once you open your browser, what you need to do if you want to download VS Code is to type the following: VS Code download for. So if you're using Windows, so just type Windows. So once you type that Windows, it will take you to show you some search results. So you click the first one. So this link that I'll click now, if you're using Mac, or if you're using Linux, or if you're using Windows, you can download them from the same place. So if you come to this place, if you are using Windows, you just click here, either Windows 10 or Windows 11. Sorry, excuse me. You can click here. Then if you're using Linux, you can click any of this, or if you're using Linux, you can if you're using a variant of Linux called Ubuntu, like I'm using, you can install VS Code using the Play Store or the command line. Then if you're using Mac, you can also use this. Now how to install VS Code. Now there's a way you can install VS Code. When you're installing VS Code, you make sure that there's a point you will see some checkbox. Just make sure you check from the first to the second to last, I guess. So you will not check the one that will ask you if you want to be receiving some feature update. You don't check that. So if you check that, it then means when you right click on a folder on your Windows, you will see open with code. So to show you a sample of that, so I'll just type. Now as part of the skills you need to learn as a web developer, you need to learn how to search for solutions online, because whether you are a junior developer or a senior developer, you need to you can't know everything, and you're not the first to have a problem. People have gotten an issue and generously share the solution to you online. So you need to know how to search the web to get those things, then understand them and use them to apply to the problem you currently have. So if I type how to install VS Code on Windows, so if you're using Windows 10 or so you see a YouTube video that will do a nice job on that. So if you click this, just click, if you search for this, just tap on the video tab. Please, I'm busy. Please tell them that I'm still having my class, that it will end by 5.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you are going to tap on this video tab. So you're going to see some list of videos. So now if you want to learn from a video, look for the one that has a recent date. Like this one now is new, 9th January 2024. So this one is most recent. Then you check for the next one. At least you download like 2 videos. But if you have data, before you download, you can, since this one is not long, you can just watch it, and if it makes sense, you cannot download. So by the time you follow examples of these videos, you see how to install your VS Code correctly. Then the next thing I want to show you is how to download and install Git. So I'm going to also search Git download for Windows 64-bit. So if you're using Mac or so, it's the same process. Just search for that particular operating system that you're using. Now why I'm using Windows, because I know that most of us usually use Windows. So if you click on this, so this one will automatically detect the operating system that you're using and ask you to click on this download. Now again, if you don't know how to install, if you feel that you need a guide of how to install Git, still the same process that we did, you can search on Google video. So now I'm being specific. Video on how to install Git on Windows. Now for these videos, they'll not only show you how to install, but some of them will show you how to download, how to install Git on Windows. So if I click how to install Git on Windows, I'm not seeing the video tab here, so that I think I made a mistake. So let me type again. I think installing Git is just straightforward, just next and videos. on how to install Git on Windows. So if I hit enter, I'm going to see that. So you see the video now. So it's just about 1 point. It's not even up to even 2 minutes. So by the time you watch these videos, then if you want to see more of those videos, you can click on the video tab and that will guide you. So as a front-end web developer or as a programmer, you need to learn how to do research and follow the instructions that you see online to apply to your situation. So that's going to open that video tab. So the next thing I want to show you based on the slide is some VS Code extensions. So I'm going to show you how to create a simple project on VS Code. So that will be the next tab. So understanding the VS Code environment, how to create a simple project on VS Code. So I believe you all have installed Git and VS Code because I asked you to do that earlier enough. But in case you have not, I think what I did here will fully help you to do that. So I'm using Linux, so I'm going to use Terminal for almost everything, but you can also use Terminal with me if you like. So how to create a simple project on your VS Code. So you right click on the location where you want to save that project. So it might be on a folder where you want to keep everything concerning programming. It might be on your document, it might be on your desktop. But I wanna advise you to make your desktop to have too many contents because it doesn't look neat. So I'm going to right click and choose folder. So I'm going to write this one HTML underscore cohort 2 underscore YT. So the name you give to your folder does not matter, but just create a folder. Now I'm seeing a hand, so let's get. I think he has a question, Mr. Ajayi.
Yes, sir. Is this your document file on your system?
No, this is from my desktop.
From your desktop?
Yes, it's from my desktop.
Okay.
The thing that I did was it's just a folder that is showing on my desktop, but you see that my desktop is not cluttered with so many folders and icons. So it's just a folder on my desktop, and I have just a few folders. Then if I click, I can access the folders as I want until I get to this point. So that's what I did there. So the next one is this. So if you click on this, if you have created your folder, then you right click. Now if you're using Windows 10, you're going to see open with code here if you have installed it correctly. But if you are using Windows 11, you're going to see show more options here. Then you're going to see open with code. Then if you're also using Windows 11, you're going to see this open with terminal. So whichever one you're using, you can follow me along. Then if you're using Windows 10, if you have installed Git, you're going to see Git bash here. So you can just open the terminal. So anyone you want to use, what I want to do now is to open this project with my VS Code. So I'm using Linux, so I'm going to click open in terminal. So I'm going to type code space dot. Now if you're following me, just type only code space dot. But because I'm using Linux, there are some other things that I have to type after this, but you don't type that with me. Just code space dot. So I'm going to type the remaining things in process GPU. So in a little while you will see that that project folder I created, which is HTML cohort 2 YT, will be open on my VS Code. So a faster way to do this, if you're using Windows, is just to choose the option open with code, but in the background it's doing something like this for you. So it's still the same thing. So Mr. Is he Omolola, you have a question? Please unmute and speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I wanted to say, what if I decide to go through what's it called, my VS Code after maybe the project I was already working on, and I decide to go through new window?
Okay, yes, that will work. Yes,
Oh,
that will work. But
okay, thank you.
the end point is that project that we just created now, that folder that you just created now,
Yes.
should be open on your VS Code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I go through new window, then I choose the folder.
Yes.
The one I just created.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Is either I choose new window, or I'll show you now. So is either I choose the new window, or you come to this file and you see open folder. So if you choose this open folder, it's going to open your file explorer for you, and you're going to now choose the folder that you want. Okay. So the folder has been opened on my VS Code. Now this is VS Code environment, and I'm using the white background thing. So I'm going to explain this environment, then we are going to create a simple project. So let's begin. Now just close all of this. Now if I tap, so all these things must show if you open a folder that you have not marked as trusted, so it will show you. So if this first icon that is showing here is your Explorer icon, now this will show all the things inside the folder that we just created. Now, as of course we just created the folder, so there's nothing inside, and that is why we are not seeing anything inside. But the good thing is that because we are using VS Code, we can create files and folders from VS Code instead of now coming from this direction and create it manually, which will not be nice. So from VS Code we can create all of that. So this is our Explorer. Now if you feel that your Explorer is taking too much space, if you tap the Explorer icon, it will close the Explorer. But if you need it again, you can tap the icon and it will come back. So just know that this is your Explorer icon. Then this little first icon here, if you see the intent that is showing here, is showing you new file. So that means you can tap that icon to create a new file, or if you want to create a new folder here, you can click on the second icon, which is the new folder. Now if you don't want to use these two icons, which I feel is very fast, you can click on on this blue border line that is here. Yeah, I see this blue border. So if you click on anywhere on it, it will show you new file or new folder, which is almost the same thing that these two guys they are doing. So if you like to use this one, you use. If you like to use this one, you use. Okay, then the next icon I want to explain. These two, we're not using it for now. So, but the one that we'll be using now is this extensions icon. So if you tap on this extensions icon, this is where you can install some extensions. Now, extensions in VS Code, they are like applications that you can install into VS Code that can improve the performance of VS Code or give VS Code more ability that it didn't have naturally. So it's like Play Store, where if you want to play a game, want to download a bank app, something like that. So that is what extensions do. So there are two extensions that I want you to install. Number one is Live Server. So this Live Server is by Dell. So you see my own has been installed. So you can take note of the extensions and you can install them later. But if you're fast, you can also install them now. Then the next one I want you to install is VS Code icons. VS Code icons. So this VS Code icons is by VS Code. So what this VS Code icon does is that by the time we create a file or a folder, it has a nice icon that makes it fine. It just increases its appearance, which is lovely. So those are the two extensions that we need to install for now. Then once you're using VS Code, there are some shortcuts that you need to know about. So I'll show you that in a moment. But this little icon here, this thing that looks like I've forgotten the name, but is a settings icon. So if you click this, you will see themes. So if you need to change the color of your VS Code, like this background now, you don't like it to be white, you can click here and you select the icons. Then if you installed your VS Code icons and it's not working, so if you tap on this file icon theme, there is a drop down that will show here and you cannot select the file icon that you want to choose. So mine is already on VS Code icon, so I will not do that. Then if you need to so themes again, so if you need to change your product icon themes or that thing, so on your own just play around, but make sure you don't do something that will spoil, that will change the behavior of your VS Code. So just be careful about what you do. So if you need to, if you want to have an account with VS Code, you can use this icon here. So next is this file icon. So you have a new text file, but I will advise you not to use any of this, because if you use any of this, is not going to create the file or folder where I want it to create. So I advise you to be using these two, or you right click. So what else is here? So if you need to set something, or you want to set autosave, so you can do that. So we don't have much there. Then if you're using VS Code and you make a mistake, just like in your MS Word, you need to go back. You do Ctrl Z. You want to go front, is Ctrl Y. You want to cut something, is Ctrl X. You want to copy something, is Ctrl C. You want to paste something, is Ctrl V. Then you want to find something, is Ctrl F and other stuff. Then now when you're using VS Code, you can use VS Code. VS Code is like one of the most powerful text editor used in programming. So it's like the number one because of the easiness and its power. So you can use VS Code to write HTML, Python, so many programming languages. So but the good thing is that when you're using VS Code, you don't have to remember the comments of each of those, but just know that in VS Code, to bring out a line comment is control and / to bring out that comment. Then a block comment is one that can comment multiple lines, so you just do Ctrl+Shift+A to do that. So that is all we need to do. Then we move to this selection. If you want to select everything on your workspace, that is on a file, just do Ctrl+A to select everything. You just highlight everything. Then the next thing is, the next important thing I want to show you is this copy line up. So I'm going to show you the importance of this and this, then this move line up. So let's create a file. So we'll create a new file called index.html. So I'm going to use this icon. So index.html. Now you see the way my icon is showing, this my HTML file is showing, is because I'm using that VS Code icon. But if you're not using this, it will just look so dull. So now in VS Code, we want to start learning HTML, and I believe you all know what HTML is. So I'll just ask, who can tell us what the meaning of HTML? If you know it, please signify by raising up your hand. HTML. Okay, I'm seeing the hand of Chidinma. The hand of Chidinma, please. Please unmute so I can hear you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, the meaning of HTML is hypertext markup language.
Thank you very much. So that is the meaning. So thank you very much. So HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Now the web have evolved so much. So when HTML was actually invented, it was the purpose of HTML was just to put text on screen. But now we can add images, we can add colors, we can add animation, those things. But the original purpose for HTML is just to build the structure in pages. Now, if we are using the house analogy, we can say HTML is like the structure of the house, the block, the wood, and everything that is structure. Then CSS is like the design of the house. Is it the POP? Is it the wallpaper? Is it the painting? Is it the tiling? All those things that makes the house to look fine is what? Is the CSS. Then JavaScript is like the electricity that makes your electronics to work, like the AC, the fan, is it the washing machine and that stuff. So if you're so each of the programming language that we are learning have its own role. So the HTML is for structure. Now if you are using VS Code to bring out a basic template of what is required to write a HTML code, you just, after you create a file that ends with HTML, so a HTML file must end with .html. If not, the browser will not know that is the HTML is a HTML file. So to bring out an example code of HTML, you just hold your shift and 1. Now if you hold your shift and 1, you see something like this emit abbreviation. Now if your system is fast, to just show as soon as possible. But if your system is somehow slow, then you have to wait for it. If you just press the shift and 1 and your system is slow, it will not do anything. It will just only go to the next line. So once Once it's showing this emitter vibration, either here or as it's showing like my own, you hit what? Enter. Now once you hit enter, it's going to bring out this boilerplate or this example code. So if you notice, there is an overflow here, so I'm going to remove that by pressing Alt Z. So Alt Z now has moved the overflow. Now why did I come to this point? I wanted to show you how to use the copy line up and the copy line down, the move line up and move line down. So let's say I have this heading tag now, H1. No, it's not there. So let's say I have this H1. I'll just type H1 and wait for it. Once I see emit abbreviation, I hit what? Enter. Then I'll just type heading 1. Now let's say I want this thing to appear up to like 3 times. So you see what this thing is showing? It's showing copy line up. So the way I can do it, if I don't want to use VS Code shortcut, is this. I'll just highlight it and do my Ctrl C. Then I'll come back here, hit enter, I'll paste, hit enter again, I'll paste. Then I'll now start to edit the content. But that is slow. You're using VS Code, which is an advanced text editor. So this one is old school. So the way you can do it with your VS Code is this. You put your cursor here, you now hold your Shift Alt arrow down, so it just copy the line up as many times as you want. So Shift Alt arrow down, it will copy it down. Shift Alt arrow up, it will copy it up. So Shift Alt arrow down, you see 1, 2. You see that this shortcut is more faster. Now let's now say I want this one to be, so let's say this is my H2. So I want to show you the move line up. So I'll show you the copy line up. So if you hold your Shift Alt arrow down, it will copy the line down. If you hold your Shift Alt arrow up, it will copy the line up. So why did my internet disconnect? So just a moment, my laptop just signify me that my Wi-Fi connection has been lost. So let me get that before I continue. Okay, I can't share my, okay, let me. Let me just see if you can. Let me switch back to blue. Okay, sorry about that. My network is just had small issues, so let me continue. Okay, so I've showed you how to use vehicle shortcut now to duplicate code instead of copying and pasting. So now I want to change this to H2. Then this one should be H3. And now let's say, oh, I want this my H1 now to be up instead of I want it to be the first instead of it to be the second. So in your VS Code now, if you don't want to use the VS Code shortcut, what you have to do now is to do Ctrl X and cut this. Then you break it like this. Do Ctrl Z and cut that. Then you hit enter and you paste. You see, this is the traditional way that I would do it, but that is a slow process. You're using VS Code, which is an advanced text editor, so it gives you the shortcut to do that. So the shortcut just to move this line up, so this one will come down. In your VS Code, what you have to do is hold your Alt key and move your arrow key up. You see, very fast. So that is what we can do in the selection tab. So I think that is only essential thing that is there. So that is only important thing here that I want to show you. So you've now know how to duplicate your code and how to move your code in case it has a wrong placement. So the next thing is the view tab and this. Then if you want to open a terminal from VS Code, you can tap your view, open terminal, then just go to, so there's nothing much here. Then if you want to also open your terminal, you can also do it from here too. So the next thing that I would like to show us now is, oh, there's one extension that I forgot that we need to install. So that is a live server. So if you go to your extensions tab, you type live server. So you're going to download the live server by Retweakdell. So if you download this, I'm going to show you how to open it if you have a live server and if you don't have. So let's begin with the one that does not have a live server. Now, what is the importance of using the live server? I'm going to show you in a moment. So I want to view this, so I'm going to save. Then if you're not using your live server, if you come to this point on your VS Code, you right click. For Windows, it's going to show you review in Explorer, but for my online news now, it's going to show me open containing folder. So if you click that, it is going to open that folder. Then I will right click this and choose open with. You can also do that on your Windows too. You choose open with, then choose the browser that you like to use. Now for web development, Chrome browser is the best, or is the most widely used because of its advanced features, advanced dev mode features. So I'm going to choose Chrome. So it's going to open up this tab on my Chrome browser. So you see the heading 1, you see the heading 2, you see the heading 3. Now, one of the advantage of using the live server is this: if I make a change on my VS Code now and change this to like 2, for me to see the changes, I have to refresh this before I will see it. So let's demo that. So I'll come to this guy now and put it heading 2. So if I save this now, if I come to my browser, you see there is no change. So I have to manually refresh this before I will see what 2. But if you're using live server, you don't have to manually refresh that on its own to just know that there's a change in your index.html, and to refresh the page automatically. So that is just basically the advantage. So I'm going to be using live server because I don't like that stress of manually refreshing this. So I'm going to close this, then I'll come to my VS Code. So if you already have your live server installed, so you right click on either on this point of the code, you see open with live server, or on this point of the code, or on this part of the VS Code, you see open with live server. So if you open with live server, it's going to speed up a local development server for you. So in a moment, it's going to open it on our web browser, and we'll see that now. Now if I change this one now to 3, this heading 3, now you notice that by the time I come back, it has already changed. So I'll not manually refresh this. So let's demo that. I'll change this now to what? I'll change this to 3. So if I save this now, if I go back to my browser, you will notice that it has already changed to what? 3. So that is just the benefit of using the live server. So at this point, we have learned how to do everything that is here. That is how to create a simple project on our VS Code. So it's already past 4. So we are going to take our first attendance. So remember what I told you. So I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to pause the video. So let me do that so that it will not be that long. I'll send it in batches. So